Fuck all the dumb shit. What's cracking, YouTube? I'm back. Got another fucking reaction for y'all. Yeah, don't worry about where I've been. I've been out the way, in the way. Still getting paper, you feel me? Yeah, you feel me? For those of y'all who seen my last video, it was a little, that's like, I try to find good videos, but I think I found the right channels. You know, the other one was Trap Biologist. Shout out to bro. Him. And then there's another channel I'm fucking with. You feel me? I'm just reacting to what they got. So, without further ado, we got some fucking police bullshit going on. The cop got arrested, whatever the fuck. Or he got fired. Hopefully, we about to watch this shit. Without further ado, I'm gonna get back up with y'all when I got this shit set up. Alright, my niggas. I got everything to set the fuck up. My fault. I'm over here setting everything the fuck up. But I got everything to set the fuck up. Without further ado, we got Audit the Audit. You feel me? Is a rookie cop. He got fired swiftly. That shit says swiftly. Y'all see this shit? Swiftly. Let's get into this shit, I got everything to set the fuck up. Without further ado, we got Audit the Audit. You feel me? Is a rookie cop. He got fired swiftly. That shit says swiftly. Y'all see this shit? Swiftly. Let's get into this shit, bro. We always like the disclaimers, right? Yo, I watch this shit because I'm dealing with some legal shit. If y'all fuck with me and y'all see on my channel my story time of me getting arrested, that shit, I'm still dealing with that shit. You feel me? That shit's not over. So I just talked to my public defender. He's telling me shit don't look good. I should have never gave the cop my P and all that. But I didn't know I was supposed to give the cop my P. But if y'all want to know more about that, let me know. But let's get into this shit. That's really why we're watching the cop videos, though. Like, we all need to learn the laws better. No bullshit.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers identification requirements, loitering laws, and reasonable suspicion. And is brought to us by Royal Muscle founder Hellcat Infamous's channel.
We gotta know what the fuck reasonable suspicion, like, what's reasonable in a cop's eye, you feel me? Because they be, bro, these crackers be bending the fucking law, bro. They'll bend the law and use that shit at their own will, you feel me? Like, they'll use that shit at their benefit and everyone else's downfall.
Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve.
This will
Before
fuck
we
the
dive
world.
into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Policy Genius. There's a lot to be thankful for this holiday season, and if someone in your financial support, whether it's a child, aging parent, or even a business partner, you need life insurance. Policy Genius makes it super easy to compare quotes from over a dozen top insurers
need
all
life
in one
insurance.
place. And you can work out how much life insurance per phone call. And when you're ready to apply, the policy...
God damn, he got paid for that shit. Fuck.
Thanks again.
Fuck. Fuck. Yeah, he got paid for that.
Parked in front of a pump at the Quick Trip gas station in Locust Grove, Georgia, and exited his vehicle to make a phone call. After about 20 or 30 minutes, Officer Pitts, Officer James, and Officer Mosley of the Locust Grove Police Department approached Mr. Hellcat and began to question him about his activities.
Are you hanging out? Are you meeting somebody? Are you waiting on somebody? Are you lost?
I live on it.
So, the reason I'm asking, we've been here how long?
You're asking because fuck how long I was in there for, bitch. Bitch. Fuck how long I was in there for, you ugly bitch. Nigga. It's a Hellcat. Bro, I'm in a fucking Volkswagen 2013 Jetta. I'm in a fucking Jetta. Like, I'm in a Jetta, bro. They be on my dick. They be on my dick. This little shit, they be on this little shit dick. I cannot imagine an 8-cylinder. I can't imagine 4 more cylinders in a supercharger on top of my engine. I can't imagine that. I have a 4-cylinder turbo, not an 8-cylinder V8 with a supercharger, my nigga. That's why y'all dick ride. Y'all dick ride because I could get away from y'all if I wanted to, if I'm in my car.
20 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Got my blunt going out with shit.
Parked at a gas pump, and I know the tank's not on this side, it's on the other side.
No, no.
Prison. I mean, you can make it super difficult, but you do make it.
I'm just wondering where y'all. I'm literally doing the phone just talking.
I know.
Go and get your ID, and
No.
while you give us your ID, she can speak with you. But you need to identify yourself, so go and get your ID.
Officer Pitts asks Mr. Hellcat to provide his ID and implies that she wants to confirm that he actually does live in the neighborhood. Georgia does not have a stop and identify statute that requires individuals to identify themselves to police officers during Terry stops. However, under Georgia's loitering statute, which is found in section 16-11-36 of the Georgia Code, officers can request that individuals suspected of loitering identify themselves. The law states that, quote, a person commits the offense of loitering or prowling when he is in a place at a time or in a manner not usual for law-abiding individuals under circumstances that warrant a justifiable and reasonable alarm or immediate concern for the safety of persons or property in the vicinity.
Basically, that shit, all that shit sound like, nigga, if you're at a public spot, that's not reasonable suspicion.
Law enforcement officer shall, prior to any arrest,
He's at a gas
afford the
station.
person an opportunity to dispel
At the
any
gas
alarm
pump.
or immediate concern which would otherwise be warranted by requesting the
fuck?
person to identify himself and explain his presence and conduct. The statute also lists an individual's refusal to identify themselves as a factor that may be considered in determining whether alarm is warranted by the individual's behavior. However, it is unclear whether a court would agree that Mr. Hellcat's behavior warranted, quote, a justifiable and reasonable alarm or immediate concern for the safety of persons or property in the vicinity.
Okay.
In the 1995 case of Evans versus State, the Georgia Court of Appeals concluded that reasonable suspicion existed to stop a group of individuals for loitering after they slowly drove through a shopping center parking lot for 45 minutes without parking or entering a store, and slowed down even further to closely examine a type of car that is often stolen when a high number of automobile thefts and break-ins had occurred in the shopping center parking lots. But in the 1996 case of State versus Banks, the Court of Appeals held that standing on the side of the road for no apparent purpose in a known drug trafficking area was not sufficient to support a reasonable suspicion of loitering, despite officer testimony that this was a common method of conducting drug transactions.
So that means that's not enough evidence. Even if they standing outside on the corner, that's not enough evidence. So fuck out of here.
Here, the officers cite concerns that Mr. Hellcat may be engaged in drug trafficking based on his behavior and patterns of past drug sales in the parking lot, as well as their observation of a known drug offender approaching him and speaking to him. If a court agreed that this was sufficient to give the officers reasonable suspicion, they would be within their authority to request his identification and an explanation under the loitering statutes. But Mr. Hellcat would not be obligated to provide it. Of course, it's important to keep in mind that officers would also have the authority to take these actions without detaining Mr. Hellcat, regardless of whether reasonable suspicion existed.
Right now, what it falls under is loitering. Yes. Waiting for somebody. Like, if you were just seeing each other just kind of hanging out, it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, I'm sitting on the phone.
But yeah,
This area is known for narcotic activity. It's known for criminal activity. So that's another reason why we're speaking to you. We want to make sure that's not afoot.
right here, people will park. They'll go over there. They'll wait right here. They'll wait for somebody. They'll do shit like that.
In broad, under a
Bro,
street.
you have no idea.
So
Well, I live out here.
I believe you do. You know, you have your ID with you.
Is the license or is the address on the license current? Is that
No.
your? Okay. What's your current address? The state's definition of loitering
Why you give it to me?
is doing something not like the norm.
I learned from when I got arrested, bro. Next time I get pulled over, I'm not working with no cops, bro. What the fuck I get out of that? Nigga, so far I lost $300 to them niggas. So far. $200 for my car and $100 on the public defender. That's where I'm at. I lost money for fucking working with the cop, thinking shit was me working with him was gonna help me. No, nigga, don't you, bro. If you look like this, bro, don't you ever work for no fucking cop. If they pull you over, license and registration, nigga, before you even give them that shit, what did I get pulled over for? If they want to be a dickhead, whatever the fuck, just get them the license. And what I get pulled over for? You need to know what the fuck you got pulled over for. Oh, you were all over the road. Make sure y'all got y'all seatbelts on too, cause I ain't gonna cap. Cops be on that bullshit too. So if you like to ride without no seatbelt, nigga, The least you can do for yourself if you get pulled over, nigga, put your seatbelt on, because that's a ticket. That's a ticket, my nigga. No bullshit.
Hanging out the gas pump, not like you know what I'm saying? So we have to just look it up. Now if you like take off and run as soon as you see us over here,
Why would I do that?
well, so that's it. That would add to it, but you didn't, so it makes it look a lot better. You get what I'm saying?
Officer Pitts attempts to explain Georgia's loitering law to Mr. Hellcat, although she fails to include the requirement that the suspect's unusual behavior cause reasonable alarm or immediate concern for the safety of persons or property. Anti-loitering laws, which make it a crime for an individual to be in a public place for no apparent reason, have a long and controversial history in the U.S., and they generally have been found to be unconstitutional when they broadly prohibit all types of loitering. U.S. loitering laws were modeled after England's quote-unquote poor laws, which were created in the 1600s during an economic depression to address the issue of large quantities of unemployed workers roaming the streets. As briefly discussed in a previous episode of ATA, the first major challenge to the constitutionality of an anti-loitering law was decided by the Supreme Court in the 1972 case of Papa Cristo versus City of Jacksonville. In finding an anti-loitering statute that prohibited loitering and defined loiterers as, quote, persons wandering or strolling around from place to place without any lawful purpose or object to be overly broad and, quote, void for vagueness, the court held that because there were no standards governing the exercise of the discretion granted by the ordinance, quote, the scheme permits and encourages an arbitrary and discriminatory enforcement of the law. It furnishes a convenient tool for harsh and discriminatory enforcement by local prosecuting officials against particular groups deemed to merit their displeasure. It results in a regime in which the poor and the unpopular are permitted to stand on a public sidewalk only at the whim of any police officer. After the Papa Cristo decision, the majority of the country's loitering laws were revised to include additional offenses associated with loitering, creating what are known as loitering plus ordinances.
The fuck? Hey, yo, knowledge is power, y'all. Knowledge is power. You gotta get it anyhow. But yo, we gonna do this with this YouTube shit, man. My dad finna come home, finna get him on this shit. You feel me? I'm trying to get the 100 subscribers for my dad get home.
Start by baking my mom's favorite brownies. Take a bite and
He
bring
come
the
home
rest
in
to
May.
mom. Now skip the rinse and put the...
While some of these loitering plus statutes have still been found to be unconstitutional, the Georgia Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of its loitering statute in the 1984 case of Bell versus State, concluding that the language used in the statute made it clear what conduct must be avoided and prevented the possibility of arbitrary enforcement.
But I literally come here all the time. I live here. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's fine, but you can't just... If you're not doing any business, if you're not getting gas, you're not
But
going
I
to
was
get
actually
food.
finna go in there. I just had a phone conversation.
Well, that's cool, but now that we've had this communication, it's what they call dispelling the alarm. Now that we're able to figure out, okay, this guy doesn't have any issues or anything like that, then we could be by our merry way. But we never met you a day in our life. I've never met you.
I've never gotten
She
out.
never met you. He's never met you. So we're just doing our jobs. What we're getting paid to do.
Alright, Mr. Lawrence. Finish up the phone call. Go inside, do your business if you got to, and then head on home, alright?
Yeah, but
Second
that's
thing,
kind of crazy.
it's
Like I've never.
Go look up loitering in Georgia
No,
code section.
my father's an entire sheriff.
Okay. Well,
I know, but I've never.
like I said, this area is known for drug transactions.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure none of that's occurring here tonight. So
I haven't spoken to him. And I know saw the weird girl run up to my car, and I'm like,
yeah, they just came from a party.
with a bunch of
a whole ton of drugs, and we're sitting right there with our blue lights on.
How the fuck you know, bitch?
my car is really well known. I race. I've been tracking this. I don't do no drug.
And like you said earlier, the reason we got out with you and asked you and then just like immediately throw you in handcuffs was called dispelling the alarm. That's all that happened.
we sat there for a while. We observed you. We were watching. Okay, this guy's not getting gas. He's not going in there. We're watching everybody come and go. So it already drew our attention. Then we saw somebody that we dealt with earlier with a whole bunch of drugs around here coming up to you. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So
And they said, hey, I see your car everywhere.
I'd have been like, man, is it because my car faster than yours?
I see your car, SRT on the side.
Hey,
I said, thank you.
which makes sense. And that's the reason we came over here to introduce ourselves, to dispel the alarm, make sure there's nothing nefarious going on. Now we're going to be about our way. Because now, if we thought something nefarious was going on, then we'd be going a whole different direction. You know what I'm saying? But we have to dispel alarm, make sure nothing nefarious is going on. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
bullshit.
Officer Pitts says that the only reason that Mr. Hellcat wasn't immediately thrown into handcuffs is that the officers wanted to give him the opportunity to, quote, dispel the alarm. This statement is another reference to the Georgia loitering statute, which states that, quote, unless flight by the person or other circumstances make it
That's
impractical,
bullshit.
law enforcement officer shall, prior to any arrest, afford the
wanna
person
see
an
this shit,
opportunity
bro.
to dispel any alarm or immediate concern which would otherwise be warranted by requesting the person to identify himself as the Georgia Supreme Court guarantees him the opportunity to explain his conduct. The statute, in fact,
bad, bro.
the explanation he provided for his conduct was reasonable enough that it should have dispelled the officer's alleged concern for the safety of persons or property in the vicinity.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
All right, have a good night.
That thing got my eye. Ah!
I don't have one on me. I'm Officer James. It's Officer Pitts. That's Officer Mosley.
Oh shit!
I mean, and I definitely encourage you to go look up the code section, OCGA loitering. Loitering. Look it up.
Oh
The
shit!
officers eventually left without arresting Mr. Hellcat, allowing him to continue with his day. 3 days after this encounter, Officer Pitts was terminated from her position at the Locust Grove Police Department. It is unclear whether Mr. Hellcat filed a complaint or plans to pursue legal action. I reached out to the Locust Grove Police
Got
Chief,
that
Derek
bitch fired,
Austin,
you dumb
who did not
asshole.
comment on the incident featured in this episode. This could be due to the fact that he's the third Locust Grove Police Chief that's been hired in the past 4 months, due to the previous 2 being fired and jailed for stealing money and evidence from the department, and he was not the chief at the time of this encounter. Overall, the Locust Grove officers get a C-, because although there is an argument to be made that the officers
Oh, why?
were
'Cause they ain't
lawfully
arrested?
operating under the authority of Georgia's loitering code, they failed.
That's a video. That's a video for you guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all.
The way she riding on that dick, you know I'm finna add her. You ain't never dove head first in the trap, finna mac. You tripping through the night, you got them demons on your back. You slamming up the fucking nigga, then bring the money back. Stupid little bitch ain't for the hype, ain't even bout to check. When I blow up, I'ma throw up. Off this Bel-Air set. New Jetta, I'm swerving in that lane, it feel just like Corvette. New cheddar, staying in your lane, you gonna avoid a wreck. Found better, just stop helping niggas, I was losing bread. Now and later, I'ma make it out, that's what Dirk said. Average nigga, no, that ain't me, I'ma blow a check.